The government doesn't erase data because it's useless. They erase it because it's heavy. 3 weeks ago, a liquidator lot from an abandoned emergency dispatch center in Aroostook County, Maine, arrived at my studio. Among the rusted routing switches and dead cathode monitors was an external server blade, wrapped in anti-static plastic and sealed with federal evidence tape dated August 14, 1994. The drive was heavily encrypted, buried under 3 layers of obsolete military partitions. But data is patient. When the final sector finally unpaddled, it didn't reveal a database. It revealed an active audio bridge, a 911 emergency call that had been placed 32 years ago, was never disconnected. The line is still open, and whatever was on the other end of that call is still breathing into the microphone. The operator on duty that night was a woman named Clara Vance. According to public records, Clara retired the morning after this call was logged, citing sudden neurological decline. She spent the rest of her life in an institution, refusing to speak a single word until her death in 2011. Her medical files note that while she stopped using human language, she would rhythmically click her tongue against the roof of her mouth whenever the lights were turned out. 2 clicks up, 1 click down. If you've listened to our previous archive files, that pattern should make your stomach turn. Let's listen to the tape. The call comes in at 3:14 a.m. The audio quality is terrible, choked by the high-voltage hiss of a passing summer thunderstorm. The caller is a 19-year-old college student named Julian, who was working the night shift at a remote fire tower overlooking the unorganized territory near the Canadian border. Julian's voice is low, frantic, tightly controlled. He reports a fire, but not a wildfire. He claims a single tree, a massive dead white pine, 300 yards from his tower, is burning from the inside out. He says the smoke isn't gray or black. It's a deep incandescent violet, and it's falling downward, pouring across the forest floor like a heavy fluid. In the recording, you can hear Clara trying to maintain protocol. She tells him to stay inside the cabin, to wait for a ground crew. But Julian isn't listening to her. His attention is fixed on the glass windows of the tower. He tells her the smoke has reached the base of his structure. It's bubbling up through the floorboards. He describes the smell, not of burning wood, but of hot lead, ozone, and wet, stagnant water. The exact olfactory signature found in the Sector 7 radio reports and the Terminal 9 servers. The architecture of these anomalies is identical. It's a machine trying to translate itself into our world. Then the audio line shifts. The static thins, replaced by a pure, high-pitched sine wave that pins the master meters into the red. On the tape, Julian stops talking. For 2 full minutes, the only sound is the rhythmic thumping of his boots as he walks to the window. Clara is screaming his name through the console, her voice cracking with professional panic. Then Julian speaks again, but his voice has changed. The pitch is perfect, the cadence entirely flat, completely devoid of the terror he had seconds ago. He says, "Clara, the light makes it easier for you to see me, but I don't need the light to see you." Clara didn't know who Julian was. She had never met him. But the entity using Julian's throat knew her home address. It began to read her personal history. her social security number, the name of her childhood dog, the exact time she woke up from a nightmare when she was 7 years old. It was a live database query of her mind, broadcasted over a public emergency frequency. On the recording, you can hear Clara desperately hitting the disconnect switches, her fingers smashing the mechanical keys. But the line was locked. The system had bypassed her hardware. The call ends not with a hang-up, but with a sound that forensic audio experts still cannot identify. It sounds like a heavy tarp being dragged across a wet concrete floor, followed by the metallic click of a deadbolt sliding into place inside the dispatch room itself. Julian was 30 miles away in the wilderness, but the sound of the door locking came from 6 inches behind Clara's chair. When the morning shift arrived at 6 a.m., the dispatch room was locked from the inside. They had to use a crowbar to break the oak door down. Clara was sitting at her station, her headset melted to the side of her face. Julian's fire tower was found completely empty. The dead white pine was gone, leaving only a perfectly circular 60-foot hole in the bedrock that appeared vitrified, turned to smooth, reflective black glass. The server drive I bought didn't stop recording in 1994. It has been running in the dark for 3 decades. And tucked into the hidden directories of the drive are audio files from last night. Files containing the sound of a ceiling fan spinning, the sound of a blanket shifting, the sound of your breathing, recorded on a 5-second delay through the microphone of the device you are using to watch this video right now. Is it a digital weapon, a terrestrial haunting, or has the vault finally reached into your room? You decide. But tonight, before you turn off the lights, look at your screens, because windows work both ways. Sleep well. This has been Somnia Vault. Subscribe for more stories and click the linked video below for better sleep. Good night.